Behold, my bold brethren of Batch, it is time now to behold and board the Batch bandwagon. I am your host, Root of the Null, and I'm going to stop saying B over and over again. It's not like we're talking about the birds and the bees. If you know what I mean. I mean Batch, whatever. But anyway, what's up, guys? How you doing? Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about strings in Batch. We're going to be creating our own new functions and doing some crazy stuff. So hey, let's get CMD ready to rock, just like we are, because we are totally ready to rock all the time when we're working in Batch. And let's hop on over to Notepad++, and I'm going to create a new a new script, but on the topic of strings, it's going to be called string starts with. And I'm pretty sure you guys can guess and probably already figure out, oh, I saved it as a text message. I'm not a text message, a text file. Man, it is way too late at night. I'll get CMD open and I'll delete string, no, not the start menu, the text. Okay, I almost called it a text message again. Alright, oh no, I'm going to need to get CMD open. Holy crap! Alright, anyway, we got our string starts with, and now what we need to do is actually set ourselves a syntax so we know what we're working with. We want to be able to call string starts with, and the variables that we're going to be working with is the string that we're going to pass in, the start, or whether or not it starts with this string or not, and then the return. Now the return is going to be like a Boolean sort of value, true or false, but in Batch it doesn't really have support for true or false statements, but we do want to be able to tell whether or not it does start with something or not. So we're going to be using the numbers 0 and 1. 0 will represent false, 1 will represent true. And you can determine whether or not the string starts with your start variable here due to those 1s and 0s. But anyway, we need to be able to work with those string that we're passing to the program, so we're going to call create string as usual. We can have content be number 1, and our second one can be start. Okay, now we're going to need some limits. We can set a limit to equal start length minus 1, and we can set our return type to already equal 1. Not our return type, but our return variable to already equal 1 on the off chance that it does happen to be in there. So now we can begin to loop through it. So for-l g in our our set. Limit is our final variable. We're going to count through the string and increment at each part. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and test if the current position inside of our content, we'll use a substring to extract that piece. If that's not equal to the current position in our start, what we can do is go ahead and turn our return value to false or 0. And then we'll go to the end and break out of our loop. And boom, we're done. That's really all that we need to do. So let's go ahead and create a new script and see if we can do this correctly. So if I were to save this as script.bat, we can overwrite whatever's there, set local. Alright, so this should make perfect sense to you. I gave you guys a couple moments of silence to mourn for all the Batch programmers that rage quit this so far in the series, and I'm thankful for you guys that you did not rage quit the series just yet. But anyway, this is what we're working with. We'll just create a string variable, and then we'll run our little script here, whether or not it starts with it. We pass in variable, and this is a joke. We'll test if it starts with this, and it should return false. And does it is our return variable, though. So if I open up CMD and go ahead and run script, we should get 0, which is perfect. That's exactly what we get. And that's because this T right here is lowercase when it's capital up there. So if we did with the capital letter, it should run as 1, and that works perfectly fine. Let's say it starts with THAS, and it doesn't start with THAS. We can say it works with TH, and it does start with TH, so that works perfectly fine. We can say it starts with this with a space after it, and it does. This A, that doesn't work, but this I, that does work. So you can see this script does work for us perfectly well, and let's go ahead and modify this just a little bit. If I were to save this as string Endswith, and I modify it so that we don't use the limit variable, and we actually go up until our start length, and we'll start at 1, what we can do is we can change our current position to be a negative number, so then it'll start counting backwards just about. And now we can try this out. If I go ahead and move over to script, and I run string Endswith variable, and it's not obviously going to end with this, but if we try and run it like that, let's see what happens. If we run script, we'll get 0, but if we run joke, that runs perfectly fine. If it just ends with jock, it doesn't do that. It ends with oak, it ends with an E, it ends with an A? No, it doesn't end with an A, but it does end with an E, and a K, and an O. So obviously we can modify whatever the string that we're testing, and we can modify the variable that we're testing it against and that sort of thing. But really it's very simple. Just check through it, see if it has the current string or not. And really that's the way you can determine whether or not a string starts with something or ends with something else. So thank you very much for watching though, guys. But before I leave, let's actually go ahead and put this inside of our system path. I can put it in our tools first of all. We've made a lot of good stuff here, guys. Take a look at that. Now if I cut these, I can go ahead and move them over to Windows System 32 and plop them right in, and we should be ready to rock. Okay. There you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully this one is a little bit shorter than the others, and yeah. I'll let you guys get on with your daily business, and on that matter, have a great day. Bye.